One of the last things to be done to the lower is change the connector. Because this tank comes with those little 1700 NIMS, I went ahead and switched over to LiPos, and Eric turned me on to xt60 connectors, which I think are really great. And I got a couple little tricks of my own. Okay, first, they're marked positive and negative. I usually start with positive just because I like doing it the same way, repetition. Now I take one of these copper alligator clips. I'm hoping this will show up in the video. On the inside of the xt60, you can see that the prongs are split. Now these little copper alligator clips, you can get them at Radio Shack or wherever. They're all over the place. They usually will fit right inside there, and it makes a really good heat sink. Because you can mess these up if you get them too hot. Don't ask me how I know. And then I put that in my helping hands. Got my wire stripped out. Got my hands in the way. And you do not want to forget to put the shrink tube on first. Let me see if I can show you what I'm doing for shrink tube here. I picked up a bunch of it when I was down in Toledo. It was really cheap. It was like 10 feet for like $3. I like to take a pencil and kind of stretch it out a little bit on the end that's going to go on the xt60, because it's a really good fit, but if you stretch it a little bit, hands right in the way, fits a lot easier. Okay, so I usually do those both at once just so I don't forget. Nothing worse than getting it soldered and finding out that you forgot the shrink tube. And I found that I try to make sure that it's all tilted a little bit towards the connector so that the solder will flow down in there. Just to line it up there like that. And one of the tricks is to use decent solder. I think we've been over this before. I use the multi-core 5-core Urson, and I don't know anything about solder or nothing like that, but I know that this stuff has been good to me. It's really. I have to mail order the solder off of eBay or Amazon, can't remember. Now I'm just going to come in behind the wire. Okay, I'm going to come in behind the wire and feed the solder until it fills up. It's really easy. Observe. It'll hold quite a bit down in there. By the time it fills up, it will have heated up enough to get a good weld. Now that's great. And that copper is pretty warm. It's doing its job. And it's just a question of turning my wires over, putting the heat sink on the other plug. You'll see it flow up against the wall. And it fills right up. Now the connector itself is not real warm. I'm not going to try and touch the part I just soldered. That's metal. The copper alligator clip is a little bit warm. So there we go. When I turned over to look at that shrink tube, somehow I put a white line across the screen of the camera, and I have no idea what it means. I hope it's not going to show up in the video. And there you go. Black to negative, red to positive. That's important, man.